Hey everyone, it's Jamie from BestNerdLife. Before we start, a quick shout out to GigX for providing the review code for The Kids We Were through It. I very much enjoy engaging with media that features a narrative or a viewpoint far removed from my own. Even though I feel like I'm quite well travelled, having lived in a country other than the one I was born in and visited a fair few others, Japan is a place I've never been to. It's on my bucket list for sure, but until I have the opportunity to go, I have games such as this to allow a chance to see the world from another perspective. I have very limited experience with Japan, mostly through the more fantastical examples of manga and anime, so any game, film or TV show that exhibits a more mundane side in a relatively modern time period is always welcome. As this game deals with nostalgia somewhat, I was a little worried I might miss some significant cultural detail though. Did this cultural blindness detract from the experience, or did it enhance it? Let's find out. The Kids We Were is a nostalgic tale based in a recent part of Japanese history. Mainly set in the 1980s and the last few years of the Showa era, this game follows young Minato as he arrives in Kagami. From this starting point in 2020, in a sleepy suburb of Tokyo, Minato ventures out with one goal: to find his missing father. This fairly simple quest quickly transforms into a mysterious time-travelling adventure, featuring a notebook that offers a window into his father's past. And so begins the plot of this cute-looking adventure that was initially released on smartphones back in February 2020. Since then, it has won a multitude of smartphone-related gaming awards, including being selected as one of the top 3 titles at the Google Play Indie Games Festival 2020. Don't be fooled by the inherent cuteness though. While the game does use some beautifully blocky voxel art, it tells a mature and at times sobering tale. I was genuinely surprised at the twists and turns of the story. I won't go into it too much in case I inadvertently spoil anything, but for all the sunny rose-tinted nostalgia contained within, this is a game focusing on dysfunctional families, unsettling pasts, and broken dreams. Aside from the story and the setting, The Kids We Were has 2 other strengths. First is the art style. The aforementioned use of voxels to create the world is used to great effect. Seeing unique and traditional Japanese architecture recreated in this style was weirdly satisfying, as if someone had built an entire intricate toy town from building blocks. The same can also be said of the items populating the various locations and the collectible items Minato can find, all rendered in loving low poly 3D detail. Sadly, I don't think much about the character designs. I found many of them bland and it was difficult to tell which characters were which. Though I think this is an inherent problem with voxel art, it can be hard to translate living things like humans, dogs and cats into low poly voxel forms. The other defining strength is the pop culture references. With over 90 retro objects to collect, there's probably something someone is going to recognise, even if you aren't intimately familiar with Japan. As previously mentioned, I was worried some of the references would go over my head. While some of them did, I just saw this as a light and fun opportunity to learn more about foreign culture, at least in a small way. That isn't to say the game is flawless. The review copy I played through did have some bugs and glitches. Parts of the character model, such as his hat, would go through the geometry. I also noticed that the in-game timer would keep running even though my Switch was on standby. So by the end I had spent about 60 total hours playing the game. I also noticed some text hadn't been updated for the Switch version. As an example, the dialogue keeps mentioning touching the screen, even though the game isn't touchscreen anymore. There's also a few glaring spelling and grammar mistakes, but otherwise it has been localised very well. Another annoying feature was the capsule machines. For some reason the game cites that they cost just 1 coin to use, but actually take 3 coins each time. Judging by the fact that I discovered enough coins to safely empty other machines of their capsules, I assume this is just a number mix-up. Not sure what that was all about. Since officially releasing on Switch, the game has received numerous updates. I haven't specifically looked to see if all these flaws have been ironed out, but I'm fairly confident that the majority will have. At the very least, I didn't discover any game-breaking bugs, and it runs well throughout. In summary, the complete edition of The Kids We Were includes all the content that can possibly be experienced. The player can look forward to additional collectible items, and a bonus episode set after the events of the main game. The entire experience is fairly short, with each chapter varying in length somewhat. Within the hour I was already in the 4th chapter, and that was with a little bit of exploration on the side. Anyone who wants to experience a blast of nostalgia, or is interested in Japanese culture, should definitely pick this up. I found this to be an entertaining little game with a dash of easygoing cultural discovery, although be warned, it could make you feel a bit old. The time jump of 33 years into the past might make it sound like the game is set in the 60s or 70s, but really it's set in 1987, which is just a few years before I was born, and that makes me feel just a little bit too old for my liking. But in any case, if you enjoyed this video, then by all means like, comment, subscribe, do all that social media goodness, and as always, keep living that best nerd life.